Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. What's up? How are you? In this video, we're going to talk about some books I've read throughout 2024 because in January 2024, I made a hardcore deal with myself to say one book every month because I wanted to educate myself, become a little smarter, but not like college smart because your girl ain't like book smart. But I wanted to read non-fictional books that would contribute to my growth journey, my personal development journey. And I've done a review already for the first half year of 24, and I'll link it here somewhere on the screen so you could go check that out first or after this video if you would like to. But this video is going to be about the 6 last months of 2024 and what books I've read. So let's get into it. Okay, so I wanted to clarify first that unlike the first video, I haven't all my books with me because I have moved across the world and suitcases only go up to 23 kilos per suitcase. So the books that I've read wasn't really the priority, even though I would love them here, but I don't have them here. So I'm gonna insert like pictures of it. The first book that I read was Born to be Rich by Proctor. Pop it up right here. I ate this book up in 2 weeks. So because I did that, I decided to read it again. So I actually read that book twice because it's a relatively short book, but it is so powerful. It talks about money, but it also talks about an abundance mindset, like a wealth mindset, and how you can attract more money and wealth into your life. And it's not just about abundance and mindset and money, but it's also about like stuff that holds you back from attracting more money. I feel like Bob Proctor was like the first person in the world, or the United States at least, to come out with the phrase that everyone is born rich. Like it's such a wild statement, and my first thought was like, obviously not, because we have homeless people, we have like people who aren't very lucky in their life, but Proctor puts it in a way that's so like everyone has the same opportunities no matter where they are in their lives, no matter who they are, what family they were born into, what kind of job they have, because we all have the same mind and everything is created from the mind. So this is like a book that's so, again, relatively short, but so easy to understand. But Proctor is an amazing writer, so I promise you're gonna eat this book up too. And 100% it's a book that I'm gonna read again, because the thing about books is that you often just sort of forget what you have read, right? So I have a list of books that I have read. I know I'm gonna read again because they're so powerful. The things they talk about, their subjects are so powerful that they deserve a second or third or fourth time of reading. So this book, Born to be Rich, I'm gonna give 5 stars. Definitely, for sure. If there were 6, I would have given it 6, but we only have 5, so I'm gonna give it 5. The second book I do have with me, it's Attention Span by Gloria Mark. And if you read this book, I would love to know what you think, because I don't know. Like, I think I expected something else than what it was. Maybe I should have seen the signs, right? Like the minute it says PhD, like Gloria has a PhD, maybe that's a red flag for me, because this gets too smart. This is way too many fancy words. This is a lot of experiments. I think what I was looking for was more like how our attention span is, which obviously she describes, but also like what we can do about it. Like, how can I improve my attention span, right? And I don't feel like she put a lot of effort into that. More of like how she did the experiments with real life working people, which was, you know, cool, but I just wish that there had been more interesting conclusions, because obviously I know if you don't want to kill your attention span, don't view TikTok 2 hours a day, right? I know that, but is there anything else we can do? Any other fun ways? So, you know, a good book if you're interested in more like the science behind your brains and like our attention span. But I'm gonna give this book 2 stars, but only because I expected something different. I read a book I also have right here. It's called, I was like, what is it called? Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. But this book is somewhat like Gloria's Attention Span. This book is also very science-y, goes into a lot of different experiments on how people, human beings, make decisions and why we are so freaking predictable. It's a better book than The Attention Span because it's not as science-y, and Dan is really funny. He has a really funny way of writing, and the experiences are more fun. It covers everything from like how we as people buy stuff why we are always drawn to like offers, or even if it's just 50 cents off, it always looks more like, or a red sign or whatever. It covers everything to like sexual experiments. Like, this book is everything. If you want to know why you make decisions, how you do, this is a really good book to look into. Again, Dan is a super funny writer. Yeah, I would recommend this, and I would give this book 3 stars. I read a book called Surrounded by Psychos, directly translated. I read it in Danish. I'm sure you can get it in English too. I'm gonna pop a picture of it in right here. If you're interested in it, you might be able to get it in an English version. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? I haven't looked into it, is what I'm trying to say. This book, again, I don't know what it was with these 3 months, was again a bit sciencey and probably not like what I needed to read the most, because it's very niched, obviously, and it would be helpful if you thought you had a psycho in your life. I'm not in that position, but there's something with psychos that are really interesting. So I was like, let's just try and read it. And it was really interesting. So the book is built upon, and it's by Thomas Erikson. I think he's from Sweden or Norway, actually. Neighbor. Anyways. So the book is built upon like 4 personality types, which is like color coded. So there's a red, yellow, blue, and green one, and like how these color coded personalities are going to respond to a psychopath. So it's basically like finding out like what color code you are. You could be multiple, obviously. And even like when I read it, because it's very boxed, like if one person only has one color code, then it would mean there are only 4 types of people in the world, which is not true. Like, I could see myself in some aspects in every single one of the color groups, some more than others, but it's basically like a guide to know how psychopaths could be using you, or you could be a victim to it, and how you can deal with it going forward, knowing your color code, and also knowing that a psychopath doesn't have a color code because they don't feel empathy. This book I would also give 3 stars, just because it's a good book. I would recommend it, but it was not like, I was not in a moment where I needed that in my life. But if you feel like you're being mistreated by someone, highly recommend. Yeah, it's a good read for people who need it. My November book is quite interesting. I'm gonna pop it up right here. And so here's the thing. I actually borrowed this book from my uncle because I told him that I had some skin issues, like some acne, or like I was experiencing like rashes and like some weird like skin vibes. And so when he gave me this book, I was kind of like, fungus what? Fungus where? Like, how does fungus have anything to do with my skin, right? I was like, where is he going with this? And obviously I was a bit offended. I was a bit taken aback. And I actually got the book from him I think in late September. And he was like, read this. And I was so offended that I was like, there's no way I'm gonna read this. Like, F you. And then when we came around to November, I was like, okay, let's give this book a chance. Let's see what it got. And oh my God, my mind is literally blown. This one book has literally changed my perception on our whole healthcare system and how we're being treated by the healthcare system and what we're being treated with. And I don't know if this is like basic knowledge, and I'm not trying to go like too deep in it because I'm not an expert. I've only read the book once, but like I learned something, obviously, but I don't know if this is basic knowledge to everyone. I thought antibiotics was good for you. It's not. Antibiotics like wipes out your whole bacteria flow, the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, everything. And you're so vulnerable to fungus and to other diseases and bacteria. And I don't know if this is basic knowledge, right? But my mind was blown because there's a lot of things you can do before you go on antibiotics. It's, by the way, written by a dog, Kaufmann, if I remember correctly. This book has so many client testimonials that varies, okay? Because apparently like your diet, what you eat, and like the healthcare in general has such a big impact on how you feel and your own health. And again, is this just something people know? And when I read the book says no, right? Because so many people, they have asthma, they have allergies, they have mental illnesses, they have gut issues, they have pains, skin issues, everything, and they try to go to the doctors and they get remedies and remedies and remedies, but the truth is you can't fix something by only fixing the symptoms of something, right? Like the remedies you get at your doctors are not going to fix your main cause of that disease. It's only going to fix your symptoms, right? And so when a lot of people get antibiotics, it's going to wipe out their whole system and of bacteria. Obviously, you're not going to be wiped out, don't worry, but your bacteria is going to be wiped out. And so you're going to be super, super vulnerable to everything. And which is why the book is called The Fungus Link, because here's what often happens. Doug is, and some other doctors that he also has in the book, like it's not only him, right? He has doctors with like different specialties writing their own stories in the book and patients and all this stuff. If you've never read into health books at all, I would 100% recommend this. It goes a lot about your diet, and I'm just gonna say, like, my knowledge went like this about my own health. Obviously, I'm gonna give this book 5 stars. I will say this is a must read for someone who's looking to optimize their health, and especially if you're someone who's been dealing with something certain for a while and you don't know how to get rid of it. Okay, so the last book, the book I read in December, is called The Essence of Success by Earl Nightingale. This is the most powerful book I have ever read to date. This book is so freaking incredible. I will go ahead and say though, it's heavy and it has a lot of principles that if you're new to personal development or personal growth, maybe this is not the book that I would start out with, because it's very heavy and it contains a lot of golden nuggets. And I will say I'm gonna have a second go at this one because it's just crazy. Like there is no way that I caught on to everything the first time. So definitely reading it again. What's cool with Earl Nightingale is that he's one of the first people in like United States to introduce personal development into the country. And what's cool with it is that everything you read in this book, you can almost hear other people that you know by like today, other coaches, other life coaches, personal development coaches say the exact same things that are in this book, but just in their own way, right? So it's cool to see some of the original material, some of the original quotes. So again, it's a heavy book, especially when you know that like new coaches uses Earl Nightingale's material to teach, then you know it's an original heavy ass book. But a must read for you who wants to dive deep, very, very deep into your own growth and your development, for sure. You can even see it if you read this one first and then you read Born to be Rich after, because Earl Nightingale was Bob Proctor's mentor. So you are going to read some of the same things, but obviously Bob Proctor has a newer way of addressing the things. It's just funny to see how everything is just so cohesive and how things develop with time, because obviously the same principles don't develop, but they get like a fresh set of eyes by whoever tells the stories. And Earl really covers everything in here. He covers everything from fear to goal setting to public speaking to happiness to how to communicate with other people. It's a huge book. Definitely a must read and a second read and a third time reading. Obviously, I'm still going to carry this habit in with me into the new year because it's too good of a habit not to do. So I've already started on my first book, which I'm not going to tell you what is yet until I will see you in one of my next book videos. And until then, please check out my other videos I've linked here on the screen, so you can go ahead and click that now. I will see you in the next one. Bye.